Oh, it's cute. It's cute.
I got them today, so I've got like giant.
This one's, I think, already got it.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Oh, that's a surprise. Can we all read kudos today?
Oh, you can like split up?
Yeah, like split them up. Surprise. Can we all read kudos today? All right. Mary Beth, you're cool with that?
Yes, sure. Are you passing this out?
Mark, yes, at the time. Okay, so Lily, are you cool with that?
Yeah.
If you don't, give you the dissertation. Don't say it. 7 years ago. We love these.
Oh, show off thing. A lot of laughs? That's why. You guys are talking about me.
It's brown.
Off week, off year, off like, I don't know.
Just roll with it. Just roll with it. All right. I'm glad. Derek Fair.
Studying for me today.
2-minute warning before we start the meeting. Last call to get something more. I let the board know about the photo. They gave me the green light. We just have to pass it around when it's time or before. When it's time.
Grade 30.
At Randall.
English grade. You got 4 more, you got 4 years? That's a progress.
She ended up, no, she got a decently normal. Kind of went yesterday, yeah.
Lucky one.
And then,
You wanted that many? No? Let me give you one of Mary Beth.
I got two.
We all got two. Couple got one. That's okay. Reading practical.
You did this, yes.
What is it? I can make one of those. I need like I know. Yeah, I'll take it. Can you give it to one of you for another day? Well, she's like, you love. She's like,
Did I screw that up, folks?
after me,
Okay. Mic check. Good evening, Board of Education Administration and our community. I'm now calling the meeting to order at 7:00 p.m. Trustee Nasser, can you please lead us in the pledge?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Trustee Bukowski,
Present.
Trustee Nasser, Present. Trustee Gator,
Present.
Trustee Hall,
Present.
Trustee Sterlini, Present. Trustee Williams, present. Trustee Dyer, present.
Thank you. We have a quorum. Before we move to adoption of the agenda, it was brought to my attention that we need to correct some minutes from the September 6th meeting. So I ask you to refer to the blue sheet in your packets, and I'll read what the corrections are. And I've already spoken with Suzanne about it as well. The corrections are as follows. For the Positivity Project, which is number 23-192, it didn't say voted yes and voted no. But for the records that I have, it was a unanimous vote and all 4 members voted yes. I'll take a moment to allow you to review that. And if anyone needs to see my notes from it, I do have that word package. Okay, the other correction would be for resolution 23194. It currently reads that trustee Sterlini and treasurer Sterlini and secretary Willis voted yes when indeed they voted no. There is no need to correct that. I'll just ask that those be corrected in our meeting minutes before we approve the consent agenda. Be it resolved that the Board of Education accepts the September 20th, 2023 agenda as presented. A board member may request an item or items be moved from the consent agenda to superintendent's recommendations. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved by trustee Nasser. Is there support? Supported by Secretary Winless. Is there discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Wall?
Yes.
Trustee Williams, yes. Trustee Sterlini?
Yes.
Trustee Dara?
Yes.
Trustee Belkowski?
Yes.
Trustee Nasser?
Yes.
Trustee Gator?
Yes, thank you. Motion carried. On to public comment on agenda items. Good evening, and we welcome you. Is there any public comment on agenda items only to come before the board? Hello.
Hello, Heather Sanders, 1440 Main Street. So my agenda items that I would like to comment are agenda, so 8, A, B, C, and D, because we don't have any names of who these people are. And not just myself, but the rest of us would like names, spelling, things of that nature. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for your public comment on agenda items. Is there any other public comment on agenda items only to come before the board? Last call, any other public comment to come before the board on agenda items only? Hearing and seeing none. Thank you. On to superintendent's reports, enrollment updates. I'll defer to Mark.
Thank you, Thank you and welcome everybody. Sorry I was running a little bit behind. So just a couple of quick things that I wanted to update you folks on in the community. Looking at enrollment, so I went back a few years to determine and kind of look at trends and where we're at for our fall count. This year we currently stand at 2,505 students for the fall count. Now people are still coming and enrolling students. So I expect that this number to change, but we're at 2,505 when the report was run at the beginning of this week. And I want to compare that to previous school years. Last year at this time in the fall, we were at 2,507. In 21, we were at 2,448. In 2020, we were at 2,434. And I went back to 2019, we were at 2,537. So you can see that number fluctuates a little bit, up and down. Right now, we're pretty close to where we were at last year with the count. So I wanted to update, and the question that always comes up is the kindergarten class. And so I do have that report. Give me just a second. So totals for this year's kindergarten class, 198 students. And I compared that, I just went back, like last year there was 189. So the kindergarten's kind of the bellwether, and of course, you compare that to the graduating seniors, right? So you want to kind of have them to kind of be equal so that you don't have a major drop off in student count. So I did want to take a few minutes and review that. Again, I expect our fall count to change as we have parents that showed up today and asked if they could get their children enrolled. So So we suspect that number will change and be adjusted. Okay?
Thank you, Mark.
Other questions?
Hearing, seeing none. On to letter B, AHS Sheriff Field update.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a quick update, and I appreciate everybody's patience at the home football game that we had. We were able to pull that game off without everything being completed. Probably the biggest thing was the scoreboard not being ready to go. The scoreboard is ready to go now, so that should be good to go. There's still cleanup taking place, especially back by the service building in the back. We're also working at a request about the actual field itself, and we're working to get information from Plant Rand Cressa to get a report finalized so that we can share that. And then the issue with the road in back, that is still being processed and still putting information together to bring to the bond committee, and that committee asked for various options back there. Put that all back to grass, could be just a variety of options for that area back there. So I know that Mr. Perkins is working on putting together that package and those options for that committee. Questions?
Hearing, seeing none. Oh, yeah, of course.
I'd like to have a comment, I guess. When you guys discuss the options for the back area by the field there, are you guys also inquiring what the baseball coach, what the coaches prefer as well? Because I think the coaches utilize that field, and the road being there, they have limited access to it. So yes, okay,
Yeah, we'll definitely get input prior to the committee meeting, so we at least have all voices in, so that's a great point.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the board? On letter A or B, under superintendent's reports? Hearing and seeing none, thank you. On to superintendent's recommendations, letter A, certified staff resignations, and it is Exhibit 1 in your packet. Be it resolved that the Board of Education accepts the following certified staff resignations. We have Megan, M-E-G-A-N, Jones, J-O-N-E-S, position elementary school social worker, effective date September 9th, 2023. We have Catherine, C-A-T-H-E-R-I-N-E, Williams, W-I-L-L-I-A-N-S, speech language pathologist, October 1st, 2023 for the effective date. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Vice President Walls, or support? Supported by Treasurer Sterlini. Is there discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nasir? Yes. Trustee Sterling? Yes. Trustee Wall?
Yes.
Trustee Williams? Yes. Trustee Darrow?
Yes.
Trustee Bukowski?
Yes.
Trustee Gator?
Yes, motion carries. On behalf of the board, we do thank both of those now former employees for your service to the district, and we wish you all the best in your future endeavors. On to letter B, certified staff appointments, exhibit number 2 in your packets. Be resolved that the Board of Education accepts the following certified staff appointment. Adrienne, A-D-R-I-E-N-N-E, maybe it's Rask or Rasky, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that, spelled R-A-S-K-E, EL teacher at Hardy Elementary School, effective date September 5th, 2023. Is there a motion? So moved. So moved by Trustee Beltowski. Is there support? Supported by Treasurer Sterlini. Is there discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Wall?
Yes.
Trustee Nasir?
Yes.
Trustee Sterling?
Yes.
Trustee Williams? Yes. Trustee Darrow?
Yes.
Trustee Bukowski?
Yes.
Trustee Gator?
Thank you. Motion carries, and we welcome you, Ms. Adrienne, to our district.
What was your vote?
Yes. On to letter C, certified staff resignations, exhibit number 3 in your packets. Be it resolved that the Board of Education accepts the following certified.
Excuse me, President Gator.
Absolutely.
Non-certified staff. I believe you said certified.
I believe I said non-certified, but for the record, I'll repeat it again. That's no problem. Thank you. Be it resolved that the Board of Education accepts the following non-certified staff resignation. Glenna Dockery, G-L-E-N-N-A-D-O-C-K-E-R-Y, paraprofessional at Pope Elementary, effective date September 5th, 2023. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I heard that by Secretary Winless and supported by Trustee Beltowski. Supported by Trustee Dyroff. Is there discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Darrow?
Yes.
Trustee Wall?
Yes.
Trustee Willis, yes. Trustee Sterling?
Yes.
Trustee Bukowski?
Yes.
Trustee Nasser? Yes. Trustee Gayton?
Yes, motion carries. And to Ms. Dockery, we appreciate your service to the district, and we also wish you the best in your future endeavors. On to letter D, non-certified staff appointments. Be it resolved that the Board of Education accepts the following non-certified staff appointments. We have Kayla, Kayla Jacobs, Jacobs, paraprofessional at Party Elementary School, effective date September 5th, 2023. Tamiko Trussell, Tamiko Trussell, paraprofessional at Annapolis High School, effective date September 5th, 2023. Patricia Sanchez, PatriCiaSanchez, paraprofessional at OW Best, effective date September 5th, 2023. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Secretary Winless. Is there support? Supported by Vice President Wall. Is there a discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Darrow?
Yes.
Trustee Wall?
Yes.
Trustee Willis, yes. Trustee Sterling?
Yes.
Trustee Nasser?
Yes.
Trustee Bukowski?
Yes.
Trustee Gayton?
Thank you. Motion carries, and we welcome Ms. Jacobs, Ms. Trussell, and Ms. Sanchez to our district. On to letter E, renewal of the Imagine Learning Digital Library subscription, which is exhibit number 4 in your packets. And it's a very long read, so bear with me. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the Imagine Learning digital learning software for the virtual program IS Teaching course at a cost of $10,075.00. Monies will be derived from general funds as presented. Be resolved that the Board of Education approves the Imagine Learning digital learning software for the virtual program at OWS Middle School at a cost of $24,000.00. Monies will be derived from general funds as presented. Be resolved that the Board of Education approves the Imagine Learning digital learning software for the virtual program at Annapolis High School at a cost of $15,000.00. Monies will be derived from general funds as presented. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Trustee Nasser. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Vice President Wall. Is there discussion? Trustee Bukowski.
I'm just wondering, the first one is for the IS teaching course. Can you get some clarification on what that is? And the other thing that I'm wondering is why is the one for the middle school so much more money than the other two?
And I will defer that to Mark. I also asked him that question, so I believe he's prepared to answer.
Yeah, so we put the memo in the exhibit explaining, so the IS is the virtual information, the courses that we teach, and then the middle school program is more money because of the licenses and the courseware that they use in the middle school to deliver the virtual courses there as well. Does that make sense? So the first one is in our virtual program. The second relates to the middle school. If you look in the exhibit and look at the second item for the quote, you can see it's the digital library, 6 to 8 comprehensive concurrent, 40 licenses. That's the big one. That's all middle school math, ELA, science, social studies, the electives, MS World Language. And so you can see it's a pretty robust package for the middle school.
And does this, just another clarification, I'm sorry, does this benefit only the virtual students or everybody?
So I can find that information out of the number of students, but I know, like, for example, at the high school, there's an online requirement, which is item number 3. So actually I was at a meeting today, so I can tell you that now that I reflect that the meeting that I was today with some parents and staff, one of the administrators was talking to one of the students about doing their online work, so making sure that they're keeping up to date on that. So, but we can get that information specifically.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions from the board? Trustee Byro?
So this says renewal. Is this, how many years has this been renewed? Do you have any idea, or is it just?
Not sure. I know this is a renewal though. I asked specifically that question to make sure it's what we used last year, just a renewal of the subscriptions.
And it doesn't really, my next thing doesn't really pertain to the subscriptions, but do we have a budget for virtual schools? And is it a budget for each of them? Because I know we have several. So I was just curious. I know like there's a budget for each of the elementaries and the high school and the middle school. I was wondering how that works, and I haven't seen the budget yet to be able to know.
So, we need to get your copy of the budget,
Thank
right?
you. Yeah, just have the cover
Yeah,
sheet.
and when the audit comes, we'll all
Okay,
be
yes,
through that.
yes.
But I can also get that, because I don't want to give you incorrect information right
Then
now.
I can wait for the audit and
Yeah.
we'll find out what's
Yeah.
what then too, but yeah. But I didn't have a complete budget, so I wanted to ask that. So thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions from the board? Okay. Roll call, please.
Trustee Sterling? No. Trustee Wall?
Yes.
Trustee Willis, yes. Trustee Gyro?
Yes.
Trustee Nasser?
Yes.
Trustee Bukowski?
Yes.
Trustee Gator?
Yes, motion carries. Letter F, hiring of English language learning supervisor, exhibit number 5. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the hiring of Ms. Nirman Jawar to the position of English language learning supervisor. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved by trustee Nasser. Is there support? Support. Supported by trustee Belkowski. Is there a discussion? Secretary Winless and Ms. Tyrell?
Just wanted you to spell it for those that are taking notes.
Thank you very much for catching that. Ms. Nirman, Nariman, Jaward, Jaward. That completes your question? All right, thank you. Ms. Tyrell?
This is a position that's in the teaching union.
No, this is a separate position. It's a director position. We're refilling, this position was currently held by an employee that left, and so we're refilling that position. So no, this is outside, it's more of a director's position.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I apologize.
No. So I'll just add to that. I'm really excited about this hire because you've met her and you know her. She is awesome. She does a great job. She actually has sat in on meetings with myself and with parents, even prior to this. But she's going to do a great job running the program, and so I'm really excited for this hire.
Very nice. Thank you, Mark. Any other questions from the board? Any other discussion, please? Roll call, please.
Trustee Willis, yes. Trustee Wall?
Yes.
Trustee Sterling?
Yes.
Trustee Gyro?
Yes.
Trustee Nasser?
Yes.
Trustee Bukowski?
Yes.
Trustee Gator?
Motion carries. And to Mrs. Nirman Jaward, we welcome you to the district and thank you. I said yes. Am I missing that
No,
twice?
just knows it just now.
Thank you. The answer is yes, I do vote better. Thank you. On to letter G, resignation of policy committee member and chairperson, exhibit number 6 in your packets. So before I get into the resolution, I just want to definitely say to Trustee Belkowski, thank you so much for your service on the policy committee. You will be missed, and we hope to hear your voice at the table as it relates to policy matters. Thank you. You're welcome. Be it resolved that the Board of Education accepts the resignation of Ms. Mary Beth Belkowski as policy committee member and chairperson. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Vice President Walls. Your support?
Support.
Supported by Trustee Nasser. Is there discussion?
We all vote no, she has to stay, right?
She has to stay. Be prepared. Roll call, please.
Trustee Willis, no. Trustee Wall?
No.
Trustee Nasser.
Yes.
Trustee Gyro?
Yes.
Trustee Sterling?
Yes.
Trustee Bukowski?
Yes.
Trustee Gator. Begrudgingly, yes. Motion carries. That was cute. Letter H, appointment of new policy committee member. We cannot appoint the chairperson. The committee has the right to elect their own chairperson. So just to make that very clear. Be it resolved that the Board of Education accepts the appointment of Are there any volunteers who would like to be appointed to the policy committee? Please raise your hands or stand firm and tall.
I'm already on it, so nominated.
That's right. Mandy's hand is raised, but was it like a big raise? Okay.
I'm so excited. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that, Trustee Dyroff. Is there anyone else who would be interested in that appointment today? Seeing no other hands, so without any objections, be it resolved that the Board of Education accepts the appointment of Mandy Dyroff as a member of the policy committee. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Trustee Nasser, there's support. Supported by Vice President Wall and others. Is there a discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Wall.
Yes.
Trustee Willis, yes. Trustee Sterling.
Yes.
Trustee Dyer.
Yes.
Trustee Nasser.
Yes.
Trustee Belkowski.
Yes.
Trustee Gator.
Yes, motion carries. Just want to take a brief moment to say thank you so much, Ms. Dyroff, for agreeing to that appointment. And we know that committee will do great work as the backbone of the work we do as a Board of Education. All right. Letter I, appointment of new technology committee member. Be it resolved that the Board of Education accepts the appointment of. Is there anyone who would like to be appointed to the technology committee? And again, we have to do this because of Trustee Hamza Abu Saleh's resignation. Any show of hands? It is up to the chairperson, and that will be Trustee Nancy.
I will say, since I've been appointed, we've only had 2 meetings. This time I sound like so,
Loud and proud, whenever you're ready. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would be interested in that appointment?
Oh, no, I wholeheartedly support it.
You have unanimous support today, Secretary Willis. Okay, be it further ado, be it resolved that the Board of Education accepts the appointment of Leslie Winless as a member of the Technology Committee. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Trustee Belkowski, supported by Trustee Dyroff.
Oh, yeah.
All right, is there discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Belkowski.
Yes.
Trustee Willis, yes. Trustee Sterling.
Yes.
Trustee Nasser.
Yes.
Oh, I skipped somebody. Trustee Dyer.
Yes.
Trustee Wall.
Yes.
Trustee Gator.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you so much, Secretary Willis, for agreeing to that appointment. All right, is there any on to unfinished business? I currently have none, but is there any unfinished business that the board would like to bring up today? Yes, Trustee Darrow.
And I sent you a message about this. In the minutes, it says K-12 media, in the last minutes. Refresh of the news feed and a follow-up at the next board meeting. And I just wanted to mention it again. It's fine if there's not an update, but it was regarding the refreshing of the news feed, and I'm assuming there were some questions and some issues with that. And I just wanted to make sure we followed those.
Sure thing, if it's okay with the board, I would like to speak. So Ms. Dyroff did email me with that, and my response to her was Susan was supposed to work with the building ambassadors, whoever was to be identified in those roles by the building principals, and I have yet to get a response from Susan if those were assigned.
And I apologize. I thought you meant I thought you were talking about the student ambassadors that used to come to the meetings, and I'm like, I don't know what she's dealing with this. I was confused, but I was like, I thought maybe you were busy or I was answering that right away, so thank you.
That's quite all right.
Okay.
Is that how the board remembers it as well from the last time
Now we do.
spoke about it? All right, thank you, Trustee Darrow. Anyone else? All right. Is there any other unfinished business to come before the board today? Trustee Nasty.
Speaking of student ambassadors, are we getting those anytime soon?
I will defer that to Mark. Great question.
Yeah, so, it's interesting that this has come up because way back in the day, I'll just do a little history on this. The school district that I was superintendent of, we wanted to have students at the table, but there really wasn't a process for that. And so, because of our efforts, one of the organizations, MAS, it was MASSP, the principals, folks put on a actual workshop for those students. Was quite proud of that work that had gone on to have student ambassadors, because I think it is great that they have a voice at the table. Of course, it's a they don't vote, but certainly give updates on the things that are going on. So I haven't explored that here yet. The meetings that I've been to, it's been pretty busy in my office trying to get everything rolling. So, but I will revisit that and look at that. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. And I guess what I want to add to that is we did have that process here, Mark. It worked really well for us, but I think with the administrative changes, it may have been parked. So I'd love to hear an update, and I know that the board would like to see them back at our meetings. All right, thank you. Any other unfinished business? Hearing and seeing none. Is there any new business to come before the board today? Any new business? Trustee Dyer.
So I go back to some of the public comments that were made tonight, well, just the one. So on the agenda that the community receives, they don't receive an in-depth agenda like we do. And I understand that to a point, but in terms of like the resignations, I don't think it would be a problem to list the names of resignations if everyone agreed. And here's why. Lots of times someone's resigning and you don't know, and had you known, you might have come and said something, or, you know, it matters to people. In terms of staff appointments, I don't think that that's a wise one to put out there, because what if you don't hire them and the names out there? I just don't think that that's something that should go to the public until the board does approve it. But I do feel like resignations, they could certainly go on there. That's just my opinion.
Thank you, Trustee Barrow. Is there anything else you wanted to add to that or under the business? All right. Does any other board member have a comment to make for that, so I can understand consensus, or any other new business to come before the board? Thank you, Treasurer Sterlini. Trustee Botowski?
I agree with Trustee Dyroff. I would say putting the resignations on there does give people an opportunity to speak or say something during public comment. And I also agree that new staff appointments, even though they may have been hired, the board hasn't approved it yet, so that should not be on there.
Okay, thank you so much for your feedback. Anyone else?
I agree.
All right, you agree?
Retirements.
Retirement as well?
Yes.
All right.
Sure.
All right, so we will work on that for future meetings, if I'm hearing correctly, adding the names of resignees, maybe considering not adding the names of staff appointments, just in case there's any changes. And then, of course, retirements for the sake of honoring those people either way.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much. Any other new business? Hearing, seeing none. District points of pride, Mr. Kleinhans?
So today was an interesting day. It's a busy day, but I got an opportunity. I said, if you're ever having one of those days where you're just looking around and wondering what the world's going on and how busy you are, you go to a kindergarten classroom. Today, I had a wonderful opportunity to walk in to 2 kindergarten classrooms, and it's just awesome to see the stuff that's going on. Those little students are so excited to learn, and in this particular case, they were in front of a PowerPoint, and they were raising their hands, and they were pulling stuff down. They were doing all kinds of wonderful stuff. So some of the things that I see our teachers do is amazing. And so we have to tell that story, that it's all about teaching and learning. And I certainly had an opportunity to witness it today. My hope is, as things settle down, that I can get out and about more in the classrooms, because I truly think that it's important for leadership to be in those classrooms. And it's really important for us to see all the great things that are going on. So that's number one. Number two, I do want to talk about the enrollment process, and I want to give kudos out to the central office staff, as well as, now that our building secretaries are back, I had heard that there were some issues last year, so we put a full court press on to try to streamline that. And that process went so much better. I had to weigh in on a few, looking at the paperwork to make decisions. The state can be really persnickety, if that's a word, if you allow someone to come to school and they're not in your, the school choice papers are off, or they're not living in your district boundaries. So we're pretty strict on that, but the system went so well, and it was just everybody working together to to get it handled, to get it completed, to get those rosters built. Then folks from my office meeting with the elementary principals to build the classes, just truly amazed. Now, I did say that we still have students enrolling, and that's not because there's this huge backup. That's because parents showed up today and yesterday and wanted to enroll. And some of that is because they just moved into the area and that kind of stuff. So, but I just want to give a huge shout out to central office staff, building secretaries, principals were involved in that process. Everybody rolled up their sleeve, really worked together to ensure a smooth start and getting all of those families enrolled. And when we look at that number, the 2,500 number, many of those students were just recently enrolled. So very pleased with that.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Kleinhans, for that update. On to public comment number 2 on anything that you may want to make a public comment about. Is there any public comment to come before the board? And Lester as well handle the hour time frame. And then Ms. Simpson, if you could talk about when the person starts. Thank you. Is there any public comment to come before the board?
Yes.
Good evening and welcome.
My name is Jerry Miller. I'm one of the residents of the Hardy Court. It's immediately behind the Churchill Field property that everybody's talking about. The good news is they had a football game and nothing happened. We expected that field to fill up pretty quick. And they have a school back there. They don't think they know it's there yet. I also want to invite anybody to come and take a look at that field. We have had people come by and take a look at it, and they're kind of amazed as to what's really taking place there. You actually see it for your own. And once again, we'd like the field returned to the grass and pasture site. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your public comment. Is there any other public comments to come before the board today? Good evening and welcome.
Virginia Morgan, I just wanted to talk again about the agenda. I don't know if you can see how small I had to write to get anything in here. And I really don't understand it. We've had the same public agenda for 30 or 40 years where it says, let's say, certified staff verification. And then we just write down, be it resolved that blank, has submitted a resignation as of October 1st. And then when you see it, we just write it down where the blank is. And so I'm not sure if we're trying to save paper or we're just trying to hide things from the public. I'm not sure what the reason is why we had to change the agenda. And I just don't understand. Certified staff appointment. Be it resolved that we appoint blank and you can write in there what it is. But this is ridiculous. We keep telling you we don't want this. And it's the same, you get the pink copy. So it's no trouble, just make a white copy for the public. Thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. Is there any other public comments coming before the board? Good evening and welcome.
Barb Diller, Detroit. I love this. So, had a great week after the first school meeting class. I want to say thank you so much for the awesome staff at OW and at the school board office. Our son said he had a great week with all the new things that was being placed for him. Like he said, he had a great week after that. So I want to say thank you. Our daughter, my niece, who's on the section, her test scores are up. Her NWA school test scores are up. We couldn't be more proud. Jumped 22 points in freaking reading where she struggled. Like, you couldn't have even imagined her doing that. Like, oh my gosh. So, like man, thank you. What else I would say? Thank you to God for our daughter. She had a good week. So, and she was so proud of her just being able to go to CNA class. It was just been a good week for our kids this week. So I'm really hopeful that with hiring a new special education director, that certain things will not put on the back burner with our lovely kids with special needs, like paperwork, like them having social workers, like them having parapros. Those types of things cannot be last minute. They can't be thought about as last either. These students are some of the most important students. They need your help. I need you to understand that. Now our kiddos, they receive ABA every single day, except for Saturday and Sunday. Every kid's not that fortunate. A lot of families don't even know about ABA. They don't even know how to get it. I've asked multiple times if there's some way we can help them either go learn how to do something, to reach some kind of resources, because families are really struggling. If families are struggling, that means teachers are struggling. If teachers are struggling, they're going to be so fast in a hurry to want to quit or retire. That means they need your help because the classrooms are struggling. And if the teachers are struggling, that means the other kids are struggling. And that's because they're not getting any help. The kids aren't getting any help. So, in order to help these students, these students are special students, you guys need to help them the best way that you can. We can't keep sitting here talking about, we can't sit here and talk about mental health and keep damaging so many students' mental health. Okay? And what I mean by damaging their mental health, that's what I mean by them not having social workers, them not having their IEP meetings, you guys not giving them the resources. A lot of the families don't even know who Aisha Brazil was, what she did, or anything. That's crazy. And she was the pack rat. No parents won't show up to the meetings. How are we supposed to be helping our students if we won't give them the information? So, like I said, these students are lovely, special students, need you. Just like our students, our lovely ladies are excelling, I want to see every special student excel. So, thank you guys.
Thank you. Good evening. Is there any other public comments come before the board today?
There's a giant spider right there.
Oh my goodness, we got it done.
I don't want to interrupt you.
It's kind
You
of.
should have.
I don't want
Hi,
Good evening and welcome.
Hi. My name is Brad Bauer, I'm a resident here. Like Jerry, my neighbor, my yard backs up to field flag, it kind of, based on what I'm hearing here, it may be important for us to attend the bond committee meetings. And is that available for people to walk in and attend? And the next question is, can I either get the next meeting time or is it on the website? Because I'm not aware of it. So if I could maybe talk with one of you to help. And then I guess being that we're not seeing too much happen too quick, and I understand it's not, it was just 2 weeks ago we brought this to your attention. But we'd like to keep it moving before too long the snow will be flying. But what I'd like to also know is there an individual name or person that's going to be the point of contact for this? And can I have that? Can I reach out to them directly versus attending his board meetings? So that would be, can I come after we close here to get that information? Is it you there or?
So,
Okay, all right, so so after the meeting I can approach you.
we will make sure that all public comment questions are answered and you will have everything that you need.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comments to come before the board? Is there any other public comments to come before the board? Someone who has not gone up yet before we allow? All right, please come up. Hi again.
Well, I think everybody in the south end of Dearborn Heights to realize that I had a yard sale last week. 30 years we've been having it, my neighbors, and it's a big kind of happening around, people come. So I'm just going to run through a list of things. The first day before we even opened up, I had someone stop and say how there were not adequate, some bathrooms weren't open for some football practices and some cheer girls. And in fact, I'm not going to say who, but the grandchild of a really well-known person in this district is sending her grandson down to Garden City, which is a shame that she would have to leave District 7 and send their grandchild to Garden City. The next morning, before we even opened the doors, or just as we opened the doors, someone came and said that there would be no Chromebooks given out at the high school, the middle school, because the district is broke. They don't have any money, and instead the teachers are going to send home one pencil and one pad of paper with every child. So that was the first day, the first morning. Then followed by someone who was complaining about the lunch program. Followed by the cost of the Polk and Party parking. That the Polk parking was $70,000 to fix it. They wanted another $70,000 and they did a deal with them for another company to finish it for $30,000. They wanted to know where that money was going to come from. Then it continued with complaints about the baseball fields. The dance club can't play on them. I tried to explain that 5, 6, 7 years ago we did all the fields and we haven't done them since. Why not? They had heard that there was a $14 million surplus. Everything that counts for people in this district, they don't get it. Of course, I heard about the mess behind the turf field. Don't even get me started on the complaints about the turf field. So nobody's been there, nothing's been moved. The big bags of rubber mulch are still there. The drain pipes are still there. All you need is a truck to take them away. I just, this is on the foot of visiting another family in Bedford area. They're sending their children to Allen Park. A neighbor down the street, they're sending all 3 of their kids to Allen Park. Do you understand that there is an exodus going on in this district? And they're moving their children to other school districts? So when you talk about pupil count, and you think you're excited about 2,500, that's because probably how many of those Dearborn Heights residents have taken their children to other districts? I think you need to look at this very, very carefully and see what kind of, nobody should have been told that the district is broke and that they cannot have Chromebooks because we're broke. I wish you had a real idea of what's happening in this district and not just some pie in the sky idea.
Thank you again. Is there any other public comments come before the board? Hi again.
To the whole point of the Chromebook, my son did ask me what was the deal with them not being able to have Chromebooks, and the crazy thing is when kids aren't able to have technology, they do say that's the first thing they go to. It's the school room. So she did say, "Mom, it's the school room. Why can't we have Chromebooks? It's not enough. What's the problem?" The kids don't understand why they can't have Chromebooks. So that, I don't know what good is that, whatever. The cheer team, girls would love to have new uniforms. I don't know when the last time they had new uniforms. I told you guys this last year when my daughter, and I posted this, when my daughter had, so she had to wear a uniform and decided that the zipper didn't even work. Or about her, we had to pin her skirt up with a safety pin. We're not going through that this year. I'm letting y'all know that right now. We're not. Another girl shouldn't either. Get your stuff together. If you guys can derive everything else from the general fund, you guys can do that too. Now, can there please be an officer placed at Bedford Elementary to help with the traffic? I've asked you guys this ever since that little boy was hit right out front of the school, and I had to get out of my car to go out there and help the little boy. While our kids have been traumatized from that ever since. I told you guys that. Did you see the therapist over there to help the kids? No. No, you're not. This is part of what I talk about. You guys always talk about the kids' mental health here in this district. You're not doing anything to help their mental health, okay? Get someone over there. Those people are crazy. They do not understand and they're lazy. They will not park their car and walk their kids to their doors. They will instead park their cars, block people in, and literally let their kids run in front of, in between cars, moving cars. They don't care. Then when the staff comes out of Bedford to try to help, put on their little orange vest like they should, they get cussed out. That's not even right. And they can't go back and forth with people. They're not. Because they're going to get fired. That's messed up because they're just defending themselves. I hope y'all wouldn't fire them because they're just defending themselves at this point. That's why, and they're protecting the child. Like, why are they getting fired for that? That's pretty crazy. But if an officer was out there, when the police officer is out there, let me tell you how smooth traffic goes. You see a whole lot of walking parents out there that day. A whole lot of walking parents out there that day. The new policy, I love that they put in, if you are late, you have to come and sign your kid in. Most beautiful thing Ms. Jones could have put in. But you still have a lot of parents not abiding by it, okay? Because if it's not enforced consistently, if you keep pacifying people, because you don't want the, oh, you're too tough, you're being too harsh, guess what's gonna happen? Another hit child. So, if we don't want more hit children and things like that in this district, you guys need to do something, okay? Thank you, folks.
Thank you. Is there any other public comments from before the board? Good evening and welcome.
Good evening. My name is Margaret King, Mayfair Street, Good morning. I wasn't going to come up and speak about this today because I didn't have, I feel like, enough backup for it. But I know I had brought up the Safe Route to School program, and she just discussed about the safety with the school drops off and pickups. The Safe Route to School program, I've researched it a little bit today. It would help with the traffic flow and drop off and pickup times. It is a federal grant, though, so it takes 6 months to a year to get. But I feel that we are considered a walking district, and I feel that this would benefit our districts. So if we could look into getting that, I do have some links I can forward to all of you guys as well, so you guys can do your research on it as well. But that's something that I hold dear and close to my heart ever since Jim was killed in our district. Thank you guys, I appreciate it.
Good evening, thank you for your comment. Is there any other public comments come before the board? Good evening and welcome. Welcome back.
Heather Sanders, 1440 May Street. So with the Chromebooks, I have heard the Chromebooks too. It is a big deal because a lot of our kids at best or in the district don't have technology at home. So even though they might have a written assignment, and so last year, like predominantly everything my kids did was online. And I hear that this year they're going to do a lot more paper and pencil work, which is fine, except for those same kids don't have that technology at home to help them with homework. And a lot of those same kids sometimes don't have a parent at home to help them with homework. And so Google is their helper. And if they don't have a Chromebook to look up things or access it, I feel like that's just, even if you're just giving them paper and pencil, not having the technology to look up answers or to help you get through something, it's just horrible. And not everything has a phone. And even if they do, some of them there's data, like, I don't know. I know the mess the Chromebooks were last year at best. Like, I get it. They were broken, they weren't charged and all that stuff, but I still have to think we gotta give these kids some technology, because if little Susie doesn't have technology, but everybody else in the class does, then she's not going to be doing as well as everybody else, and she's not going to be given those same opportunities. Like, she could have been getting better grades than they did, but she didn't have the same technology. So I really hope that you would consider that, or whoever is the controller of the Chromebooks, and I know we have issues with them, but I just wanted to point out, I have heard a lot from parents too, and a lot of parents aren't going to come to the board or to any of you and say, hey, I can't afford a Chromebook, or I don't have Wi-Fi at my house, because that's not what people want to do. So I just think for the interest of the best interest of the kids, we need to get them those Chromebooks, and they need to be able to take them home. So that was one thing. Another thing, Ms. Gerard, she's awesome. You guys did awesome. She was the building sub at Polk when I was there all the time, and she used to come and translate for parents for the PTO. So that was like awesome, because we would have fundraisers, and sometimes we would be stopped trying to communicate with a parent who came in to explain an issue about a fundraiser, and she was so quick to always come and help us, and genuinely just seemed like she was really just cared about trying to get everybody to communicate. There was one more thing. It must not have been important. So I guess that's going to be it. Thanks.
Thank you again. Is there any other public comments come before the board? Good evening and welcome.
I'm here on behalf of one of my neighbors. She actually took her son out of D7, drove them to Detroit for a year, and I encouraged her to bring her child back to D7 this year. So just a second, what all the other parents are talking about with the Chromebooks, I do understand everything is a process. Like, there were out-of-date ones, there were broken ones, and I do know that things have to, they have to get a new shipment in. But just a more specific question, like even with equality, like with the kids that do have laptops versus the kids who don't. My son actually has two, so he's letting his friend borrow one, but that still brings such a strain in the class when some people have technology, some don't. So I just wanted to know if there is there like a more, like, is there a semester that we can expect them? Like, if it's not gonna be this semester, will it be next semester? Should they be looking forward to like next year in January, or like is there like a prospective date for the whole Chromebook thing? And secondly, I would like to know if there's a new curriculum leader and who that person is, and if there's like an acting safety superintendent right now that I can contact.
What I will say, Ms. Kemp, if you would like your questions answered directly, you can feel free to leave it on the public comment sheet so we can get it back to you. Thank you. Good evening. Is there any other public comments come before the board? Any other public comments? Last call. Any other public comments come before the board? Hearing and seeing none. Thank you all. Other business. On to board committee updates. We will start with the bond committee. And I do believe that is the only committee who had minutes for us today. And I will turn it over to the chair of that committee, Vice President Wolf.
So actually, I talked a little bit about this at the prior one, because that bond committee happened to be like right at before the other one. Excuse me. But I will go ahead and just do a quick little brief update. Attendance: myself, Ms. Winless, Mr. Kleinhans, Mr. Perkins, Ms. Morgan, Ms. Greca, and Mr. Thomas. Not present, Ms. Peltowski. Old business was with regards to Turcotte Field. I did mention this at the prior meeting, that turf was completed. The whole project is not classified as done, but it was to the point where the high school was able to play on the field, which many already know that happened. On a side note, I do want to thank Treasurer Sterling, because I did see her. I saw Mr. Kleinhans at the football game. It was kind of nice, you know, so thank you for being there. The budget was reviewed again with Tony Thomas, with Plant Moran Cressa, and we still have some funds in the contingency bucket, but that's something that we're still waiting as projects get completed to find out what we will have left over. The update on the overall construction, the parking lots was of the primary concerns with Polk being more as the first priority of Part E just because of the student drop-off and that. But that's still, those projects were still being worked on. But as for the construction in the schools and that, at the time of the meeting, Polk was completed. Part E just had some small projects, but did not affect the occupancy of the students coming in. And the storage containers were removed. For new business, there was discussion about a couple items. One was about putting a speaker on the northeast corner of Part E entrance, by the entrance door. At that time, Mr. Perkins has heard that that would not be of a high priority. And then replacing an analog clock in Polk by Route 108, that was felt that could be completed at a lower cost. So those were not classified to be continued through the bond committee. There was discussion on the restoration post the football construction field and that, with particular emphasis on the road in the back south end by the boys baseball field. Mr. Thomas with Plan Radcrest is going to seek different options with the road and present at a future bond committee meeting. And then there was another inquiry with regards to the air conditioning to the auditorium. It was explained that the prior year bond committee had suggested to hold off on the the air conditioning installation due to the increased cost of all the other projects that were affected by the COVID pandemic. But the ductwork was put in place during the auditorium remodeling, so that way when air conditioning is to be planned, there won't have to be a redone of the ductwork. There was no public comment. The next meeting is to be determined, and we adjourned at 6:33. And I apologize, we started at 5:30, and the meeting was on September 6th. No, August 6th. Sorry. September 6th. So I had the first time. Sorry.
Thank you, Vice President Wall, Chair of that committee. Are there any questions from the board regarding those minutes? Ms. Arrow?
So a couple of things. Polk parking lot, is it true that you got a cheaper rate from 70,000 down to 30,000 or whatever it was?
I'm not familiar, I've not heard those numbers specifically, so I can't comment on something I don't know.
So you don't know if we switched companies then?
I've not heard anything about companies being switched.
Okay, and when do you expect that parking lot to be completed?
So that's something I'm hopefully going to hear at the next meeting, because one of the issues was regarding the base. There was water that was remaining and it was not draining. And I gotta admit, I drove by there many times after dry days and there was still like a lake in there. And then there was discussion on what it would cost to have a material put in there and at that point, there was discussion of some alternatives, but we're still trying to find it out. But I did drive by there, I think about 3 days ago, and I did see that there was like a gravel already down, so I can't give a date because I'm not the construction people, but hopefully we'll have a new meeting soon and then we can give an update of when that should be completed.
You don't have a meeting scheduled yet?
I just talked to Mr. Thomas to find out because I want to try to do it when he has the restoration options also, so we're not having multiple meetings.
Okay. So I did take a walk up to check out the area behind the chipper field, and it is a hot mess. But I guess, you know, I'm not a landscaper, but there's a big, huge pile of dirt, and I guess I just don't understand why we're just not going in with whatever those machines are that pull out things that pull the dirt back out and seeding it. Instead of paying whatever we're paying for all these people to come up with stuff. I really, truly don't understand that. Is there something that I'm missing?
So with the road that's back there.
But it's not really a road.
Can I finish,
yeah,
Mr. Rowe? Please, let me explain, please.
Okay.
With the road that's there, I'm not talking the cement road.
Okay,
I'm talking about the passage that the vehicles use to get back there. We're looking at different options from completely removing it to completely restoring it back to grass to, if there's an option to keep that there. We're looking at just different options because of different costs, and then that's what's going to be brought up to the bond committee.
Okay, and then my last question is here where it says the ductwork has been placed during auditorium remodeling to allow for AC unit to be installed at a later date. Who's going to pay for that? What is that? Is that bond money? Is bond money
Are we
that's set
talking
aside
about
for
the
that?
ductwork?
Not just the ductwork, but AC unit to be installed at a later date. Is that somewhere in building and site plans or?
So what happened with the original bond and that, there was discussion of having an air conditioning unit for that area. But that was declined by the bond committee of a prior year, not this current year. And the reason was because of everything else that went up with cost of everything, that it was not going to be feasible, because otherwise other things would have been completely canceled. So that was, that was the reason for that. But the bond committee did suggest to have the ductwork there, so that way there would not be a tear down of like all the ceiling area and all that for the air conditioning unit. But there is no specific date of when the air conditioning unit would be put in, but it would not be, at this time, it wouldn't be covered by the bond because the funds aren't there.
Okay, I'll go to Treasurer Sterlini and then we'll go to Trustee Belkowski.
So, to the point of the AC unit, we are discussing it in building and site. We just met the other day. We were discussing about, because we knew there was no bond money, to discuss about getting an AC unit for the auditorium. So that is being talked about there. The thing about the issue with the field that you mentioned, about the dirt pile, maybe this is more to what you're trying to say is, why are we spending, if I know you guys are going through and seeing what can be done or whatever, but at the end of the day, if it's just literally a matter of moving that dirt pile and putting it, spreading it out, why do we have to hire a company? Like, why are we wasting money that way? I will go grab shovels and I will move the dirt myself, because I think this is where we're losing ourselves as a district. And I've said this before, when I was in school, my brothers went in school, the dugouts needed to be fixed, we needed new dugouts for the boys. Guess what? The parents got together and created those dugouts. Those dugouts lasted until last year when somebody said, oh, they're crumbling, we need new dugouts. And then we paid the company $170,000 to build dugouts. So I know everything needs to be pretty and all that, but we also need to be keeping up with what we have. If we aren't taking care of what we have, we're just keep spending money and spending money. That turf field, I love that turf field, but I'll tell you what, when I was at the game, after the game, there's a mess everywhere. Was there anyone cleaning that field up? And I'm not putting down anyone. There was Mr. Millette, I'll give him kudos. He was out there cleaning up, and I felt that shouldn't have been just his job. This is a small community. Kids need to learn to respect what they're playing on, respect what they have, to parents as well. And it's not just the kids learn from parents. We need to teach each other, to take care of things, get a committee together, get parents together and say, hey, we're going out here and we're gonna move this pile. Let's save us some $50,000. We need to start doing that here, because money can be spent in other ways, to the point of, hey, we need no more Chromebooks. Here we go, here's more Chromebooks. And I'm not saying we don't have money for Chromebooks. I'm just saying, kids need to learn to appreciate what they have. That's, maybe I went off on a tangent, but sorry.
You did, and I feel comfortable stopping you, but thank you for acknowledging it yourself. Trustee Belkowski.
I have a question about the projects that were up to remove. Speaker on northeast corner of Party entrance door. Is that interior, exterior?
From what it was discussed, is it was an exterior speaker.
Okay.
And I don't think you were at that.
I wasn't at.
Right. So there was discussion about that because there are other exterior speakers, like for safety. And one of the things that was mentioned is where that particular speaker was suggested, they did not feel that that was going to make a difference, like with regards to safety, to hearing and that. That's what was discussed.
Okay.
Okay. I saw no other hands raised, but I just want to clarify a point. For matters related to bond, whether it's old business or new business or other business, We would direct the community to speak with Mr. Kleinhans, and then you will work with the chairperson to make sure the information is clarified. Am I understanding that correctly? Okay, you're good with that?
Sounds good.
All right, thank you. Any other questions from the board? Okay, on to other updates.
I have other business. Yes.
Please allow me to get through this part, and then we'll jump right back to
Other updates.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
No problem. So there were no building and site committee updates at the time, and no minutes. Let me specify that. There were no minutes at the time that this agenda was created. We had not had a meeting at the time. For finance committee, there were no updates. For policy committee, there were no updates. And for technology committee, there were no updates, meaning no minutes and no meetings. And I'll get to you, Mrs. Brown, this item. Okay. For upcoming board committee meetings, as Vice Chair Wall communicated, there's no scheduled meetings and it's to be determined. For building and site committee, we had a meeting on 9/19. It was at 5:30 at Annapolis High School. Our next meeting is on November the 29th, 2023 at 5:30 at Annapolis High School Media Center. And again, I will produce minutes for that meeting at our next regular board meeting. For finance committee, and again, that was tentatively set, but it has been confirmed that the next meeting will be on October the 9th. Is that right, Treasurer Sterling?
Yes.
Okay, and it will be at 5:30 at Annapolis High School Media Center. There is no scheduled policy committee coming up, and there is no technology committee meeting scheduled as well. And again, just as a memo, meeting dates and times and locations are subject to change, and updates will be announced via district website and social media per the Open Meetings Act. Okay, is there any other business to come before the board? Trustee Allen.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, Mr. Finance, but is there anything you can say about the Chromebooks? Because I heard this too.
Yeah, so one of the purchases that the board did was Chromebook carts. So the idea was that the Chromebooks will stay here at school because of all the issues with state testing last year. And so we did move to purchase carts, and we actually purchased additional Chromebooks. In talking to the principal, I believe they have, or they're in the process of developing a checkout system for those kids that do need Chromebooks at home. And so it's not a matter of not having money to afford. It's a new process put in place. And I do believe that they're monitoring this, this semester to see how that works. But that's the reason that the students aren't taking them home.
And is the paper pencil thing an accurate statement or just a valid rumor?
I'm not sure about that, so.
All right. Is there, does that complete that question? Yes. All right. Is there any other business to come before the board? Hearing and seeing none. So we will do a new process for kudos today. Per the request of Mr. Kleinan, he felt that we could divvy the kudos up just to give it a spirited touch, if you will, and I passed them out to each board member. So we will start with you, Trustee Belkowski, if it's okay, and then we will circle back around and end with Trustee Nassar. Thank you.
Sure. This kudos is to the party staff from Don Lipinski for welcoming me into the party family. Change is never easy, and the efforts made by our staff and parents to ensure a good start to the school year have paid off. The patience and flexibility that they have shown as we worked through some concerns really brought out their sense of pride and professionalism. They are all rock stars and truly are a family that I am grateful to be a part of.
Thank you. Next.
This is to Alexandria Bastain from Don Lipinski. Alexandria received a $1,000 award from the Building Healthy Communities Organization. The award allows our staff to complete a free course on the introduction to social and emotional learning. The monetary portion of the award can be used for subs so the staff can complete the course or for classroom materials and supplies that coincide with SEL. Thank you.
Thank you.
This goes to Corey with EnviroClean from the Polk staff. Corey has been going above and beyond to help keep Polk clean and tidy. He has been staying late and is frequently vacuuming and going back through the rooms in the morning to be sure they are ready for the children. Thank you, Corey, for all you do for Polk. It does not go unnoticed. Our schools and the children have truly been enriched by your efforts. Great job, Kate.
All right. So to Lauren Chilcote, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that, from Carrie Macchio on September 18th, 2023. 4, when the Bedford Little Library had some damage to the plexiglass on the door, Lauren fixed it up and made sure it was securely reattached so that it was ready for our students to enjoy when school started. Every school year, he helps me with several different literacy initiatives with a great attitude, a friendly smile, and a kind word. We're very lucky to have him here in Bedford, and he surely makes every day, as he always likes to say, fantastic. Thank you for that. And to Chad Cow from Jamie Marcus on September 20th, 2023. Chad is an incredible asset to Best Middle School. Students respect him and are motivated by him, especially the players who will be coaches on the football and basketball teams. He's a very dedicated teacher and coach and puts his entire heart into everything he does. The students and staff see this daily. It was heartbreaking to see Chad step down as the head football coach and middle school athletic director last week. His absence from coaching will be an incredible loss to our school, our district, and especially our students. Thank you for everything you have done to truly make the D7 difference, Chad.
I have to Brianna Crooker from Don Lipinski. Brianna was awarded a grant from Donors Choose for her classroom project entitled "It Always Seems Impossible Until It's Done." This grant will be used to enhance her classroom and her students' learning experience. Thank you. And this is to Chad, is it Cal or Cal? Cal, okay. To Chad Cal from Gen Mass. And I apologize, both of these are from 919. Chad is unbelievably dedicated to the students at OWBES. This is my first year working with Chad, and I have been impressed by him since day one. Chad is an excellent teacher in addition to coaching multiple sports at BES. Chad has also served as the middle school athletic director, which is a significant amount of extra work with very little additional compensation. I have watched Chad in the hallways recruiting kids to play football and encouraging the current students to behave in a way that is expected from someone on his team. Chad truly has put his heart into these roles. It was heartbreaking for all of us to see Chad step away from the coaching and athletic director positions this past week. His absence will be a great loss to the sports program at OWBES. Thank you, Chad, for giving your all to the District 7 families. Thank you.
To Gwen Bennett from ANTAS, date 9/19/2023. Thank you for all of your hard work so far this year to get everything up and running at Pardee. We know that you have stayed late and come in early to get everything ready for the teachers, students, and families at Pardee. You are the best. The next one is to Gwen Bennett from Don Lipinski, date 9/19/2023, for helping with my transition as the new principal at Pardee. Gwen has been very helpful in multiple areas. She is a wealth of knowledge, professional, and works well with students and staff. She is the first person families and guests meet at Pardee, and she makes everyone feel welcome. D7 is lucky to have Gwen as a part of our district.
So I have two of them. The first one goes to Marwa Hassan from Leah Bowers, and it says, "Thank you for your assistance in helping me help our newcomer students. The students and I are very blessed to have you. I appreciate your knowledge, patience, and kindness." And then the last one is to Kevin Cordy from ANTAS, and it says, "Thank you for all of your hard work in moving, fixing, and cleaning at Pardee. It has been an overwhelming job this year, but you do it with a smile on your face. Thank you for everything you do for us at Pardee."
Thank you, and I believe that completes our kudos. We would like to also have board members say kudos that they feel are important to share. So would any board members like to share any kudos? We'll start with Trustee Belkowski. I believe I see Trustee Dymowski in this room.
So I want to give a kudos out to Mr. Lipinski, who I've yet to meet, but my daughter said that she went into the office the other day, that it was out, was holding down the fort. He looked a little overwhelmed, but she said he looked like he was handling it with grace, so kudos, Mr. Lipinski.
Thank you. Trustee Darrell?
I just want to thank Mark for that, us reading the kudos. I thought that was great. Yeah, thank you for that.
All right, sounds good. Any other kudos? Treasurer Sterling?
I'll go with two. So I would like to thank Mr. Millette, again, I kind of mentioned it, that he was out there in that football field, and actually played Pat. She was out there as well, but he was out there cleaning up that field all by himself, and I think maybe significant other was out there as well, but I appreciate him doing that, and, you know, I think he went above and beyond that day. And also for Mark, I think I appreciate he's been working his tail off, and you guys see here, you don't see what, he's dealing with a lot of stuff behind the scenes too, and he's running, and I just appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Any other kudos? Trustee Nassar?
So I have two of them. The first one is more formal. The class of 25 is doing, they're working concessions at the U of M games at the big house. And last week I was a lead, and oh my God, it was so brutal. My feet, my back, like everything was crazy. But like I was just standing in the booths, and they were like holding, they had like a band, and it was tied to a box, and they were going around the stadium with these boxes and selling and coming back and refilling. And each game they make like thousands of dollars, and so we need a lead every week. So if anyone's over 18 and wants to participate, I know the class of 24, the senior class is also doing that. So either or class could use the help. So if anyone wants to help out, you can watch the game, you know, you can do whatever, it's great. So we're covering from last
Oh wait,
game.
you get to watch the game?
We're not supposed to, but
How can you not?
We have athletic.
And then also on a personal kudos to trustee or treasurer Sterlini. We were having a conversation last week, and she was just like, you know, Nadia, like, you know, you're in college, like, take every opportunity you can get, take every study abroad program you can get, do whatever you can. And then, like, following that conversation, I actually kind of thought about it, and there was a study abroad program that I applied for, and like the next day I got it. And so I'm studying abroad because of Treasurer Sterlini, and I just want to say like that it's just like such a wholesome like thing, and I just wanted to share that with everyone.
Congratulations. Anyone else? President Wall?
I just wanted to put a kudos out there for anybody that went to the football game, because there was actually a pretty good group there. There was a lot of the opponents' family and the students there too, but it was just still nice to see that. And I would encourage when there is the next home game, as many people to come out. I mean, especially if the weather's nice, and see the field, and mainly, you know, cheer on the team. You know, so, both the football players and the cheerleaders. Thank you.
All right. Any other kudos? Hearing and seeing none, I would need a motion to adjourn this meeting at 8:19 p.m. So moved. So moved by Trustee Volkowski. Is there support? Supported by Secretary Winless. Is there discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Winless, yes. Trustee Darrow?
Yes.
Trustee Volkowski?
Yes.
Trustee Nassar?
Yes.
Trustee Sterlini?
Yes.
Trustee Wall?
Yes.
Trustee Gator?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you all for coming this evening and have a safe night.
Put it everywhere. Nobody was not seeing that. Huh? Oh, you want to see the mail? Oh, it was her. You can see it because that was her date. I think so, and I was like, she's not even driving. Really. I know, I saw. She really made me over. She's my basic. She doesn't even think that I'm like, maybe that's too much hard. No, I don't think that. But it does after that. I don't need that. But $400 shop.